Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troll.
(1974 to 1977). Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1974-77 Carryover League. We got a series today in the National League Mountain Time Zone. We don't go here very often, but it's the last series for the All-Star break. It happens to involve the teams in first and second place. Moreover, it also involves the last three division winners of this division. Arizona started 0-10 last year, won the division. Vegas won the division the 2 years previous, kind of shutting out the Colorado Rockies and the Portland franchise. Not doing as well in the expansion process, I would say. The series started with Vegas a half game ahead of Arizona, and the two teams will practically face again, maybe, probably, in the postseason tournament to ultimately see who's in first place in this division and possibly win the division. I'll show you what's happened. Game one, we open up in Arizona. Joshua Tree. Vegas, they send their Desert Warrior Mel Stottlemyre out there. And Arizona finds a big stone in the desert. It's a Steve stone is the stone they find in the desert. Vegas, representatively, offensively challenged, defensively strong. They're like the 85 Bears or the Legion of Boom or the 2000 Ravens. They're like a defense with virtually no offense whatsoever. You know, that kind of team. Arizona's got plenty of batting average, and they added Roger Freed to that after winning the division last year. So that's sort of the diagram of how the teams would play. Second inning, Vegas gets 3 singles, 1 run scores, but a guy, it's Ashby, gets thrown out the plate trying to get a second run. So it's 1-0. In the third inning for the home team, Stevie Ray Braun with a solo shot. A couple singles. After a couple outs, you get an RBI single, Mike Hegan. And then you get a ground ball. Talk about how great the defense is, right? They get a ground ball to Sandy Alomar, your 2E19 second baseman, and he boots it. It just happens in a sport. You're not an E0. You're an E19, which is slightly better than average, but we got to remember that's 19 out of 41 possible errors, so almost below average. Anyway, it's an error, and that's 3 runs. 3-1. Fifth inning, you get a Braun double. Then you get a 2-out Mike Vail double, but Dave May gets thrown out trying to score from first, so it's simply 4-1 instead of potentially 5-2 if these guys weren't running down at the plate. It's getting away from Vegas here late. You get a single in the 6th. An error by Ed Brinkman, who used to be a 1E8 at shortstop and is incredible 72. Now he's regressed to a 2E23. That's an error. And John Knox gets a sac fly. In the 7th inning, Stottlemyre gives up a single. He's pulled for Jim Crawford. That was a bad move. He gives up a walk to Dave May and a Mike Vail 3-run homer. It's all over but the shouting. Arizona 8-1 victors, and they move a half game ahead of Vegas. Steve Stone, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run allowed to collect the victory. Game 2 back here in Joshua Tree. Would you believe the same final score? Unreal. Arizona wins 8-1 a second time. Here in the first inning, it's single, walk, single for 2 runs. Double single in the second inning. In the 6th inning, you get a Dave May homer, Walk single, RBI double, Bruce Miller. You get the idea. A couple singles, and 3 walks in the 8th off of Danny Frizella, who's in relief of Ken Brett, who was pretty awful, actually. Brett went 7 innings, 11 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 3 walks, 7 Ks. The starting pitcher for Arizona is Jeff Zahn with his rookie or second-year Dodger card of 74. Really good performance as a starter 6. He goes 8 1/3 with a shutout. It gets wrecked in the 9th, so Daryl Knowles collects the final 2 outs, spoiling the shutout. But it's an 8-1 victory, and Arizona has ripped off 2 convincing wins. Now they're a game and a half ahead, which takes us to game number 3. Now we go to the other desert. They take the they take the Marrakesh Express from Joshua Tree to Lake Powell, I guess, to Vegas. And game 3, it's where is it? It's Dick Ruthven for Arizona and Jim Lonborg for Vegas. This is a little closer game. First inning, Vegas had a chance. You had a Bavacqua double. He gets thrown out the plate on a single trying to score. Second inning, Bretman single, ground ball, RBI single, Mike Vail, 1-0. Vegas is stranding runners. Or you get a walk, double play, single out, or you get single walk, wild pitch out. Still 1-0 into the 6th inning when Roger Freed, again, he and Bavacqua, the 2 fringe extra player cards of 77 who are on a pitch count, you could say. You're allowed 3 at-bats or 6 innings, whichever comes first, and you have to play your terrible defensive position to sort of counterbalance the hideous offensive performance you possess. Well, Freed gets that homer and then quickly exits the game. Knox walks, Braun reaches on an error, a walk K, pass ball, RBI single, Ed Herman. We got a runner thrown out the plate here. Redmond gets thrown out the plate, but it's 4-0. And that's more than enough again, because Vegas just, they can't hit a bull in you-know-what with a shovel. You know, they can't hit a donkey in the butt with a broomstick, folks. They just can't hit. They simply cannot hit in this thing. Dick Ruthven's actually pulled after 8 because Arizona wants to, it's a closer game, it's 4-0, and they want to slam this thing shut. They don't want any chance of a comeback, so they go to lefty Daryl Knowles with their closer Tom Johnson waiting. What need him? After Daryl Knowles makes an error, there's a double play and a fly out to end the game. Arizona rips off 3 consecutive victories. Now they are up 2.5 in their division. Let's take a look at the standings. In the Mountain Time Zone. One thing the rest of the National League is looking for is making sure you don't get a wild card from this division. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen, because you've got Portland down there, Colorado's right here, and now Vegas has fallen to here. So you've got 3 teams all below 500, which bodes well for the Reds and the Pirates and the Cubs and, of course, the Phillies and Mets, all trying to get wild card or division spots. So here's Arizona at 15-12. And again, nothing, I mean, one of these teams always goes to the playoffs every year. They have very, very little pressure if you're playing good baseball. Remember, Arizona started 0-10 last year and won the division. So they've already been through this before, and so they're very confident in completing this series win and ultimately probably winning this division. Practically winning this division. But it's checking in time with the Arizona Diamondbacks. What do we got here? How good are they? How good are they? Can they continue to hold on and win this division? If they win the division, can they make any noise in the playoffs? Can we glean any of that from today's activities from Las Vegas? Today's starting pitchers. Steve Stone's coming back on 3 days rest, going for a sweep. He was 12-8 with a 3.95 ERA, 214 innings in 1975. Vegas goes to a lefty. Woody Fryman hasn't pitched in the series. He's a 13-game winner in 76 in 216 innings with a 3.38 ERA. Both are starter 7s. Both players, Bavacqua and Fried, are both batting cleanup today as teams have juggled their lineups a little bit. Leading off, it's Pedro Garcia Lorca, 52, flies to center. Bruce Miller, 1-7's a base hit. Stevie Ray Braun, 2-7's a single to center field. Bruce Miller will not attempt to go to third. And now it's Roger Fried, batting cleanup. 59 off the pitcher's card is Short X. This is Brinkman. This should be a double play, but no! Again, Eddie Brinkman makes another error. If you're ever wondering about errors on here, you can simply go to the E-rating chart here and see what percentage. Low percents means you screwed up, made an error. 28%, yeah, he's an E23, so that's, you know, anything lower than like 40%. Once you roll the E-rating on the pitcher's card and then roll the E-rating result, that's how that percentage is calculated. It's an error on Easy Ed Brinkman. Oh my, it's starting early, folks. The bases are loaded, and it's Merv Retman. 1-3, flies a left beat question mark. Bruce Miller, he didn't try to go first and third as he tag up here. It's a 12. 13-14. You got a plus arm for Greg Gross. But he's thrown out on a 20 trying to tag up. What giveth, what taketh away. So you get the bonehead error, and then the guy gets thrown out the plate anyway, and they don't score. It all balances out, folks. Who's the lucky one and who's the unlucky one, right? Bottom of the first, it's Juan Beniquez. 57's a K. Greg Gross, 111, rolls the first. And Tom Hutton, when Tom Hutton talks, ground ball to third, he gets injured. Plus injury. Tom Hutton got hurt. Oh, that's a downer. Can Bavacqua play first base? Yes, he can. So we'll move Bavacqua there. He's a 40-25. That suits the rule. And you already have a third base, and Boswell will play third base. And now you can just put anybody in here. Foote, Anderson, or Gilbreth. I guess we'll put Anderson in right field and make Pat Kelly the DH. That's what we'll do. All right, when Bavacqua comes out of the game, we're going to need another first baseman, of which they have... Who else could play first if Hutton's hurt? He normally never leaves the game. Well, Ashby could go to first base, and they could put Barry Foote at catcher, I suppose. These are the problems that some of these expansion teams deal with, just trying to find enough depth to cover their injuries. Top of the second, it's Dave May. 67, he strikes out. Mike Vail, 46, base hit. Bill Plummer, 38. That's a 6-4-3 double play, Bill. Bottom of two, and here he is, Kurt Bavacqua, but he rolls in the pitcher's card and grounds out. A Reverend Pat Kelly flies to right. And Ken Boswell, 38, he pops short. Into the third. It's Mario Mendoza, 33, he rolls to short. Pedro Garcia Lorca, 38, Ks. And Bruce Miller, 52, flies center field. Bottom of the third, it's Alomar, 210. Rolls back to the mound. Ed Brinkman, 2-4. Let's take a look at a card. Here he is. Easy Ed Brinkman. 72 Brinkman card. He gets MVP votes for his defensive prowess, believe it or not. A couple years later, he's still a 2 shortstop, but what's really interesting is his power versus lefties, which is not available today because they're facing a righty. Because he had 14 home runs for your shortstop. Leads the club. Often bats cleanup against lefties. Today he bats 8th against a righty. Double 1 of 3. And it's a double. An extra base hit for Vegas. They're rolling. They got a man at second base. He's halfway home. Now you got Alan Ashby. 54 off of Stone, center X. You got a bad center fielder out there, folks. You got a 40-14 in center. This should score the run, and it does with a single. And it's 1-0 Vegas, taking advantage of the weaker team's defense. Vegas boasts a great one. Juan Beniquez, 3-6, it's a K. And with 2 outs, Gray Gross, 2-7. Grounds to second base. All right, we go to the fourth. It's Stevie Ray Braun, 110, center. Roger Freed on the pitcher's card again, third X. But this is, it was Bavacqua to start, now it's Boswell. A 4E23 third baseman, that's another error. Oof. Some bad defense on display today. Merv Retman, 66. Base hit center field. Freed will not make the turn. 2 on, 1 out. Dave May. 1-6. Let's take a look at this guy. Dave May started his career with Baltimore. Then eventually he shows up in Milwaukee. Has probably his best year in 73. And then eventually he shows up in Atlanta. Might have been part of the Henry Aaron trade to get Aaron back to Milwaukee. In 75, he hits 276 with 12 home runs. His defense is gone, but boy, he can hit lefties fine. 1-6, that's a 3-run dinger, and Arizona has a 3-1 lead. Mike Vail. 3-9 is a K, and with 2 outs, it's Bill Plummer. 2-10 rolls to the mound. It's Mike Anderson in the 3 spot now, where Hutton was. 1-8 he walks. Bavacqua. 46 is a K. The Reverend Pat Kelly, 46 on the opposite side, flies to right. And with 2 outs, Ken Boswell, third X. This is Braun, he's terrible. Speaking of terrible, these are the third basemen, or these are the humans who can play third base for the Diamondbacks. Steve Braun is their everyday third baseman. He's 437. Bruce Miller could play there. He's 437. John Knox could also play there. He is a 437. And believe it or not, Bill Plummer could play third base in a pinch if you need him to. He's also a 4E37. And he makes the play. So there you go. If you're ever wondering, you know, it's like, man, these defenses are giving up a lot of bonehead plays. Every once in a while, you know, a real bonehead defender makes a play. This is on the range of 4 third base. So we can chase. We don't have to always chase the E-rating result on this. We can also chase the 20-sided dice roll. And here it is, a 20. He rolled a 20. So yeah, a 20 is going to be an out for every result when you roll an X. So that is a GBC, and the inning is over. All right. We go to the 5th. It's Mario Mendoza. 3-8. 3-8, let's take a look at the Mario Mendoza card. And boy, this is Mario Mendoza Appreciation League. You know, Mendoza is often in our league with 3 separate instances of his career where he hits safely well over the Mendoza line. Here he hits 221. We've had him in leagues hitting 245, hitting 225. Nowhere close to a sub-200 average. We skip those years, or he skips those years. And in this particular card, this dude can hit some triples. He hit a couple of them in 163 at-bats. 3-8, triple 1-17. He dusted himself off at third base. Arizona means business, folks. He's also a 2E20, a 2E30 shortstop. Runner at third, they got to bring it up. They can't go down by much. Vegas, they just don't have a comeback kind of offense. Pedro Garcia Lorca with the infield up. 57's a strikeout. That's a big K there. Now they're bringing it up for Bruce Miller. 212, a foul out. And with 2 outs, it's Stevie Ray Braun. 49, second X. This is Alomar. He should make the plays at 2E19. And he does. He makes the play. All right. Bottom of the 5th in a desert. One of them. The one in Nevada. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
So Vegas, if you're wondering, you know, they did win the division a couple times. The defense was much better when they did that. They had Wes Parker one at first. They had ones all over the place. And they had A-Rod and Brinkman at third and short as ones. They had an all-one outfield featuring Mike Anderson and Ken Berry. And I forgot who was in left field. And they just tormented their rivals by winning games 3-2, 3-1, 2-0, 4-1 all the time. By always turning double plays. If you got guys on base, they just turn double plays left and right. Defense isn't as good, offense isn't as good, and it's slipping through their fingers as we speak. Bottom of the fifth. It's Sandy Alomar leading off. 2-7's a base hit for your beast stealer. And I got to add Brinkman. I got to start thinking Stone's good against righties, Brinkman's bad against them. How about a hit and run? That should increase the batting average. Rolls a 7, which means the runner has to steal. Rolls a 9 for the B stealer. He should be safe, I believe. Plummer's got a -1 arm being held. That's 13, 12, 11. He's good. Yeah, he's safe. So, swung through it. They got the stolen base anyway. And now Brinkman will have to swing away. 1-8 flies left. Alan Ashby. 2-7. He strikes out. Back up top to Juan Beniquez. 2-4, he rolls the third, and they leave that runner there in scoring position. We go to the 6th. Final at bat for Roger Freed, then it'll be a substitution. 3-8 is a walk, and you couldn't pinch run as well. He's a 10 runner. His substitution will be Mike Hegan, who's also a 10 runner. That's kind of funny. He'll take over at first base, defensively at the bottom of the inning. Merv Retman, 3/8's a K. Dave May with a big blast earlier. 2-5, you saw the card. It's a base hit to center field. Keegan will hold at second with 1 out. And now you got the dangerous Mike Vail. 1-8, let's take a look at the dangerous Mike Vail card of 1975. Vail had a lot of these cards as a pinch hitter in the National League. Would have been a fantastic DH if he played the American League. You'll find many a 300 hitting card for Vail. From 75 to like 82-ish every other year or something like that. He always seemed to hit 335 one year. This card will hit you 302 and 162 at-bats. 1-8 is double 108, single dot dot. He catches the double, and it is 4-1 with runners at second and third. You have to bring the infield up now for Bill Plummer. 2-6, grounds the third, the runners are holding. And now you got Mario Mendoza. Boy, we could use that triple now, Mario. He just misses the column and pops the third. It's just a 4-1 game. Many teams wouldn't even blush about a comeback. Well, for Vegas, it seems like they're an eternity away from getting control of this series. All right, bottom of the 6th, leading off, it's Greg Gross. 2-5, he walks. Now you got Mike Anderson. 6-5 off the stone card. It's homer 1-4, double the rest. It's a 2-base hit. You got runners at second and third, and Bavaca will get his final at bat. Let's take a look at him before he swings. So yeah, you're wondering, oh, how come he's got the limiter? Well, we got the limiter on Manny Mota at 398. We got the limiter on Freed, who hit 398. Mota hit 395. Bavaca only hits 333. Well, we decided to pop that limiter on him because of the insane amount of homers, triples, and doubles versus right-handed pitchers he has on his card. Mostly to not make a mockery of the MVP race, as we like to hopefully see traditional big leaguers compete for that. Because accumulating homers and RBI, usually you need a lot of plate appearances. He could still win the batting title, though. You don't need it. You know, you can win a batting title, but you probably aren't going to win the Triple Crown or the Homer RBI title if you only get 3 plate appearances a game. That is the theory. Here is the pitch to Kurt Bavaca. 43, left X, out in left field. Vail's terrible, 40-13. The pitfalls. The pitfalls and pratfalls of bad defense. That's a 2-run single. We got a 4-3 game. Do you want to run for Bavacqua? He's a 12. We talked about Barry Foote. Gilbreth's a 14, and he's a better defensive third baseman. So Gilbreth will run for Bavacqua. He'll be the runner at second base. Should be a runner at first base. And now you got Pat Kelly. 310 is a fly ball to right. Ken Boswell. 3-8 pops to short. And with 2 outs, it's Sandy Alomar. 4-11, first C. Steve Stone gets out of that. Looked ugly for a while, but he got 3 straight outs. All right, we can make one more change. Yeah. Alan Ashby's going to have to play first base because the starting first baseman, Hutton, got hurt and Bavacqua was gone. So we go to our third first baseman. The pinch runner, Gilbreth, will take over at third base where Boswell was. We'll put Barry Foote to catch in the Boswell spot, and that means, you guessed it, folks, no more bench. They're all in there. No more pinch hitting or whatnot as we go to the 7th. 4-3 game. Fryman is a starter 7. He's chasing a win. He's going to try and battle here in the top of the 7th. It's Pedro Garcia Lorca. 3-11, let's take a look at Pedro Garcia Lorca. So he emerged in Milwaukee, thought he was going to be their everyday second baseman. For a while he was, then he kind of pittered out, and then they struggled at second base until later in the decade. Of course, Paul Molitor and Jim Gantner show up, but we're still ways away from that happening in Milwaukee. This particular year, old Pedro just hit 225 with 6 homers and 302 at-bats. But he does very well against lefties. And 3-11 is gone, and that is 5-3. Now you got the DH, Bruce Miller. 1-8 is a base hit, and now we got to think about yanking Fryman here, who's not having a nice day. Though you've got lefties Braun and Fried coming up next. Let's have them face those guys. Unless the point of weakness occurs, then we'll yank him. So, with Miller at first, we'll have Fryman pitch to Stevie Ray Braun. Here it is. 48, you struck him out. Now you got Mike Hegan. 3-7 is single dot. So it is first and second with 1 out. And you got the righty Retman, so they're going to pull old Woodrow Fryman. After 6 1/3, he broke in the 7th. Oh boy. This poor team. 5-3 game. We're going to go to Paul Mitchell here. Paul Mitchell started his career as a Baltimore Oriole. They had so many pitchers. He wasn't part of their plans, so he would ship them off to the Milwaukee Brewers. He played a few years. I think he played on that Harvey Wallbangers team of 79. He comes on in the 7th inning with a 3.63 ERA in 57 innings. Runners at first and second and 1 out, and he will face Merv Retman, once teammates in Baltimore. Here's the pitch. Swervin' Mervin Retman. Let's take a look at the Merv Retman card. My goodness. Wow, we're really impressed with Arizona. They got some players here. So Merv hit 286 and 77. What we're missing out on is the 33 walks and 126 at-bats. You know, that's like 140 walks in a full season. So he's got like a 420 on base, something like that. Power both ways. Great defense in the corner, 2-1 What's not to love about Merv Retman with this card? 1-6, triple 1-7, double the rest. We look up, he catches the 2 triple, and the Diamondbacks are rolling, folks. They have a 7-3 lead. We got a team in the National League Mountain Time Zone, the same team from a year ago, who started 0-10, and then after that 0-10 start, they had the second best record in the National League down the stretch, trailing only the Cincinnati Reds. Think about that. And they get Roger Fried, a 398 hitter in the offseason, to bat 3 times in their games they're playing now. So Arizona could be dangerous. Their defense and their bullpen's pretty lousy, and the rotation's not any great shakes either. And they're beating up a really lousy team in Las Vegas, but here we are. 7-3. Runner at third, 1 out, Dave May. 2-4, Centerby question mark. Do you want Retman to tag up? 13, 14, 15. Against the Benitez arm, he scores. It's 8-3. With 2 outs, it's Mike Vail. He strikes out. Oh boy, Arizona, it's not looking... oh boy, Las Vegas, it is not looking good. Trailing Arizona. 8-3. Stretch time here in the desert. We're listening to the story of Ethio Jazz. 65-75. Mulatu Ostatki. I hope I'm doing that right. Probably not. This brilliant collection. Let's find let's go back to another collection of his. I want to find some of his music that I was listening to the other day. Here we are. Here's a different collection of his music. This thing is just put you in a good mood. 1998, 14 songs. Ethio Jazz featuring him from 69 to 74. Okay, fine. Different timeline. Same great sound. Love this stuff. And this tune is right here, which they would refresh this, but in any event, yeah, it's this tune right here we're listening to. Okay, back to the game. Steve Stone, 8-3 lead into the 7th. He's good against righties, not so much against lefties. The only lefty he has to deal with is Ashby and Gross, because Hutton is gone because of an injury. So here is Ed Brinkman. 6'11", first X, but you got Mike Hegan there now. He's a 2-15 at first base. And he boots the ball. Mike Hegan. Sloppy. These expansion teams. Alan Ashby. 2-5. That is a 4-6-3 double play. That really hurts, as he was the left-handed batter, which Stone is weaker against, but he erases Brinkman. Back up top to Juan Benitez. 47 is a strikeout. And Vegas looks like they are going through the motions today. The writing is on the wall. The closest they have been in this series is down 4. They lost by 7, 7, and 4, and down 5 today. That's not a pretty picture. Top of the 8th, it'll be Bill Plummer. 2-7 strikes out. Number 9 hitter Mendoza, 56, strikes out. And back up top to Pedro Garcia Lorca. 1-7, another strikeout. Well, that's a nice comeback for Paul Mitchell after letting the horse out of the barn. Bottom of the 8th, Stone. Lefty, righty, righty. We'll get him through 3 batters here, as he's not near his point of weakness. Greg Gross. 2-6 singles. Now you got Mike Anderson. 2-6, fielder's choice. Anderson at first for Rod Gilbreth. 68, you walked him, and that'll be the day for Steve Stone. He goes 7 1/3. And with just 5 outs to get to clinch this thing, they're not going to mess around. They're going to go to the back end of their bullpen, beginning with Daryl Knowles. They're not going to get fancy and roll out the long men, trying to give them work. No. They're going to nail this down. Daryl Knowles comes in, a fantastic 1976 with a 2.88 ERA for your Chicago Cubs in 72 innings. He's got 2 men on and 1 out in the 8th. And he will face the Reverend Pat Kelly. Here's the pitch. 5-10, catcher's X. Plummer's an E13 catcher. And he boots the ball. Terrible E rating, 13. You're seeing like, this is the reason why a lot of these players are available, is that the traditional MLB teams, they factor in how bad you are as a defensive player, and they're like, ugh, I don't want that guy. And they end up here on expansion teams. So just like that, this is how you blow an 8-3 game. Bases are now loaded with 1 out, and it's Barry Foote with Alomar, Brinkman, and Ashby in the on-deck circle. Here's the pitch to Barry Foote. 1-7 is single 1 to 10. He cannot get it on an 11. A tough break for Vegas, and gosh, they really need this. It's almost like their season is on this at bat. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and the batter is Sandy Alomar, and here's the pitch. 2-7, let's take a look at Alomar. So he was with the Yankees in his final year there. Then I think he goes to the Angels, and then he's gone after that. In 74, he hits 261. Sharing the switch hitting duties with Horace Clark and Gene Michael in New York. They like their switch hitting, their switch hitters in New York history there. 2-7 is your single to center field. No sense getting a guy thrown out the plate unless it's a gimme. The runner at second base is Gilbreth. That's not a gimme, no. 14, 15, 16. You got a -1 arm in center field. So we'll just play it station to station to get us within a grand slam. And who else is it? But it's Ed Brinkman. We talked about that card. The 14 home runs by Ed Brinkman, most of them against lefties. And Arizona's not going to fall for that trap and let their opponent get back into the game that quickly. They're going to go to Tom Johnson, the closer, and have him attempt a 4-out save. Let's take a look at Tom Johnson. Was a Minnesota Twin in 1976. Had a 2.63 ERA in 48 innings. Twins had a lot of great right-handed pitchers in their system. Couldn't keep them all. They had Bill Campbell closing things out. They had Dave Goltz, Jim Hughes, guys like that. So Tom Johnson will come on in the 8th after Knowles could not put the fire out. And he faces Ed Brinkman with the bases loaded and 2 outs in an 8-4 game. Here's your pitch to Ed Brinkman. 1-9 is a pop to third base, and that will end the inning. All right. Vegas will go to their closer in the 9th to keep this thing within a grand slam, and that is Max Leon, who's been to a couple All-Star games since they signed this guy to be their closer. In 74, he was 4-7 with a 2.64 ERA in 75 innings for the Atlanta Braves. Here's the hot tip, though, on Max Leon. Phil Niekro had his best year in 74. Tom House had his. Buzz Capra had his. Those are the top 3 pitchers. Leon was next. 4th best pitcher on a really talented Atlanta team in a small ballpark, which had all those launching pad homers in 74. A real head scratcher as to how they had such great pitching one year and great offense in the opposite year. That's what happened. Not to mention Carl Morton is the 5th best pitcher on this Atlanta team. He was signed by the Toronto Blue Jays. He will pitch the 9th inning. Leading off, it'll be Bruce Miller. 3-4, he lines it short. Stevie Ray Braun, 68, singles. Mike Hegan, 46. Second X, your second baseman is Alomar, 219, and he turns the double play. Bottom of the 9th for Tom Johnson. Can he preserve the 8-4 victory? In the last inning, they sent 7 men to the plate. And Alan Ashby will lead off in the bottom of the 9th. Again, they have no pinch hitters at all. It's just whoever's up next is up next. Alan Ashby leads off. 53 is a comebacker to the mound. Leadoff hitter Juan Beniquez. 54 flies to right field, and with 2 outs, it'll come down to Greg Gross. We'll look at his card. Gross, perfect Vegas player, a 2E1 in left field. You might as well be a 1 if you're going to be a 2E1. That's about as close as you can get. 660 plate appearances. The dude hits .314 Everyday player, symmetrical player, no problem at all with lefties. Just didn't hit power. And ultimately, he was not going to get a starting gig long term because of the lack of power. But Vegas doesn't care. At least now they like his good defense and the .314 average. Here's the pitch to Gray Groves. 3-9, he draws the walk to keep the game going. And now you got Mike Anderson in the 3-hole. Here's the pitch to Mike. 48 off Johnson is a strikeout to end the game. And it is an 8-4 victory for the Diamondbacks. We'll take this to the post game and show you some stats. As Arizona seems to be in comfortable shape in their division now. Boy, Paul Mitchell, he gave up that the triple in the 7th inning to Retman. That was a real killer to Merv Retman. So he gave up a hit, a run, and a K, allowing the inherited runners of Woody Fryman to score. Fryman gave up 11 hits and was charged with 7 runs. 1, 2, 3. Only 5 are earned. Walked 1. He struck out 9. Tom Johnson gets the 4-out save. Got Brinkman out in the 8th, and then he gave up a walk and a K in the 9th. Darryl Knowles didn't really do the trick he needed to do. Came in to face Pat Kelly. You had the error there. And then you had the foot got out, then he gave up the single. So he gave up the single. And the unearned run is charged to Stone, who gets the win. So Stone does give up 4 runs, but only 3 are earned. Stone gave up 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. 1019, 0109, 813, 47. 110, 46, 46, 110. One of the things we said about these divisional battles, if you rip off a 4-game sweep on your opponent, boy, you are doing some damage right there. You are getting yourself into a playoff conversation, and you are damaging any chance of that happening for the team you just wiped out. It is so hard to come back from an 0-4. You need to do some sweeping yourself, if that's the case, to kind of balance out your one-loss record. Because if you just win nail-biter series after nail-biter series, you're just not going to gain enough ground. So we'll look at the stats, standings, and other games remaining in this round as well. 4-game sweep. While we do that, we'll turn this one up. This is another beautiful song off this Ethio Jazz LP. 1019, 0109, 813, 47. Put some stats together for you and some standings. Reconciling the league, see if we got cumulative stats to 412 games, of which we do. 412 games played thus far, folks, in our little season. We expect to play about 660 games when we're all done. League's hitting 273 with a 4.01 ERA. These numbers have held steady for about a month now. So batting average is up, but not giving up a ton of runs, indicating maybe not a lot of walks, and maybe teams just are leaving men on base is an assumption to be made there. 4-game sweep, so these 3 games are not being played. So the teams can just march down their rotations in the postseason tournament. Steve Stone could pitch game 1. He just pitched that game. He'll have 4 days off before the tournament begins now, so it'll come right back to him. And the same thing for Vegas. They'll go to Ken Brett. I'll just march down the rotation. Lonborg. I think I'll go to Fryman in Game 3 ahead of Strat-O-Matic, who struggled this year. And then it'll be Brett, Lonborg, and Fryman in the next series. They'll probably play each other. I think we can determine that, actually. Let's plug in the result here. Yeah, Vegas 0-4. A little disappointing for Vegas not to win a game. And that might have put him in a quandary here. They could have knocked him out of rematch. No, I think they're barely limp in to a rematch with these goons. The way we figured that out is when the postseason tournament comes around. Here's the up-to-date. So Arizona, there they are. Boy, that was a big leap. Look at this. They got a nice, comfortable 3.5 game lead over the Las Vegas. But the Rockies do have to play Portland for elimination purposes. And Vegas, boy, Arizona's got a +4 in the tiebreaker too. So Vegas in a rematch, winning 5 out of 7 is not good enough. They'd have to win 6 out of 7. Yeah, they'd have to win 6 out of 7. The rationale is if you win 5 out of 7, you're half game back, which grants a tiebreaker, but the tiebreaker you don't have because Arizona's +4. If you go 5-2, you're just +3. So that's not good enough in 7 games. In 7 games, you're going to have to win 6 of 7. Whew. So it looks like Arizona's practically going to be in first place. Doesn't mean they clinch, but practically. And then they'll play another top seed for overall seeding in the league to potentially fall back into the wild card. But Arizona's in real comfortable shape, along with the Dodgers in the National League. While all the drama is going to be in the East and North, these two divisions. And we'll conclude with looking at stats of these two squads. Let's look at Vegas first, since they've fallen on hard times. They're 13-16. This is stunning to me. They're hitting .295 as a team. .295 out of the scrub offense. It's unreal to think about. But they're not bringing in the runs. They got 143 runs scored and 141 given away. They're just +2 in run differential. But a losing record to boot. So that shows some more bad luck. Sandy Alomar's 40 for 109. Gross is 40 for 129. So those guys are hitting 300. The big player, though, is Bavacqua. We talked about his limit. So he's got 82 at-bats. He's 30 for 82. So he's hitting 366. Okay, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But he has just 2 homers and 19 RBI. So that's generally not going to put him into the MVP hunt. Now let's look at the Arizona Diamondbacks. 16-12. They are also hitting .295, remarkable, with a .390 ERA. They've also scored 142 runs, but they've only given up 121 runs. Big difference. Speaking of the batting average and runs scored, they're .284 for 964. And Vegas is .302 for 1,025. So that's, Vegas that's probably one more game played. They've played 29 games. Yep, it is. And Arizona's played 28 games. And in that extra game, Vegas hit around .295 in it. or they play better or worse to get to .295 in it, we can say. Tom Johnson's been a good closer with 5 saves. The rest of the bullpen is not that great. Jim Merritt's okay. Steve Stone is 6-1, 28 runs in 62 innings. That gives him a .406 ERA. Probably won't put him in the All-Star game. Dick Ruthven is okay. Yeah, .390 team ERA. They're just okay. The offense is where it's at. They got a bunch of guys with many home runs here. You got 3 guys with 5 homers and a couple guys with 7, including Dave May, who's got 7 homers and 21 RBIs. And Roger Freed has 7 homers, but just 14 RBIs. So you see, he's not even leading his team in those categories. So 398 hitting Roger Freed is 32 for 80. He's hitting 400 with a 398 card. I mean, perfect. I mean, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. But as far as plate appearance or at bats go, Braun's got 28 more. Hegan, his defensive replacement at first, has 9 more at bats at him. Because a lot of times Freed will play the outfield, or, you know. You've got Dave May. You've got. Here's another one. Mario Mendoza has more more at bats than Roger Freed. Of course, Mario Mendoza is hitting 232. So there's no exploitation of Roger Freed to say his excessive use is tilting the scales in our league. If anything, we're erring on the conservative. But 16 and 12 is 16 and 12. And I guess the other thing to look at is at 6, where are they playing right now? They're playing 571 ball. It would seem that they'll probably hunker down at the number 4 seed in the National League and settle into anonymity for a bit. Folks are probably going to forget about the Arizona Diamondbacks for a month or so until they get their playoff game, their playoff series, and see if they can win a playoff series for an expansion team, which has been difficult at best. But for now, let's break up the Arizona Diamondbacks, a 4-game sweep to take command of the Mountain Time Zone. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.